Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn about list in Python. There are multiple things that you should know about list, okay? And in this video we are going to cover all of that. Myself Rakesh, and I welcome you back to my channel Automate with Rakesh. Please do subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon to stay up to date. Now let's see what are this list in Python and how this is created, what is the syntax, everything we are going to learn one by one. Now first of all, let's say if I have to store multiple numbers inside a single variable or a collection of different values inside a single variable. For that, a list data type is used. A list is a kind of a data type which is used. For example, 10, 12, 5, 85, right? Some numbers, random numbers I'm trying to insert. So what this will do, by defining this way, this nums variable is now containing multiple values. The nums variable is now containing multiple variables. Okay, now the first thing you need to understand, Rakesh, it's very difficult to remember if I have to use a square bracket, whether I have to use a curly bracket, parenthesis, what should I use? I generally forget. Don't worry. Now for a list, if you look at the alphabet L, the alphabet L is more like a square bracket if you put a upper one, right? So by remembering the alphabet L, it will be very easy for you to recall, hey, I have to use a square bracket. So this is a memory reference which I am giving. Okay, so this is how you'll be declaring. Now the first thing you would have, okay, I have created a list variable, but is it a list variable? How do I know that, Rakesh? Okay, no worries, just use a print command, and in the print command I am going to say type. I'm going to use the function type, and within this function I'm going to say the variable name. Getting it? So this way, if you hit on, or if the moment you hit on execute, you would see this is a class list type. Getting it? So the list will be always be created with this square bracket, and each value has to be separated by comma. So this is clear? This much is clear? Very good. Now let's move on to the next step. Okay, now what if, Rakesh, I would like to print us, how do I print this list variable that you have created in Python? So the moment I say print nums and execute, what would happen? The entire, if you see, the entire values have been printed, right? What if I would like to print only a specific value from a list in Python? So how can I do it? It's very simple. All I have to do is use a square bracket. And in the square bracket, the moment if I mention 0 and execute this, what is happening? I got the first value. What would happen the moment if I say 1? What is happening? It is printing the second value. So remember, always your index numbers will start from 0. In most of the in the programming language, the index number will start from 0. So that means if I have to access the last value in this list, if I count, the first value is there in index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the moment I say 4, what would happen? The last value 4 getting printed. Okay. Now, what if I would like to print a specific set of values? For example, I would like to start from the index number 2 and print it to the end. So 2 colon, if I write and execute, what would happen? From the index number 2, which is 5, 85, 4. So 0, 1, 2, from here till the end it has printed. The same thing you can define. Let's say I would like to print till 2 to 4. So what would happen? This is the last index number. So the output of this will only have 2 values. Tell me why? Because the first one is the index number. So it will start from the starting index number and until 4. It will not include 4, but it's until 4. So the index number 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So until index number 4, it is going to print. Remember this, okay? The last one will not include the last value. Rather, it is until that point. Starting point and end point. Okay? It is not going to contain the end point. Okay. So this much is clear. Now let's say I'm going to create one more variable called names. And in this, again, I'll use a square bracket. And within double quote or a single quote, I'm going to provide some string values. Let's say Rakesh. And then within double quote, let's say I'm going to say John, separated by comma. These are very important syntaxes, okay? John, and then let's say I'm going to give it a name called Rahul. Okay, these are the, now we have two different variables, right? Two different list variables. Now in this list variable, one more thing I forgot to tell you. What if I would like to print specific values? For example, if I say for x in, I'm going to use the second variable names colon. So by doing this, I would like to print each specific value, right? For x in names, if I say, and if I say print and I say x, so what is going to happen? The output is going to print Rakesh, John, Rahul separately. Do you see? One by one it has printed. First it has printed Rakesh, then it has printed John, then it has printed Rahul. Getting it? Okay. Now we have understood how to loop through the data. How do you print a list? How do you loop through the list? We have understood. How about, can I, Rakesh, can I combine this two lists into one list? Yes, that can be done. So how we will do it? Let's create a variable first. I'll create a variable called combine nums names. You can give your own names to the variable, doesn't matter, equals to. So how you write your list, the same way we will start. We are going to use a square bracket, and instead of values, this time I'm going to use the variables. Okay, now if I say print, what would happen? Print, and I'm going to say combine the variable name, and if I execute shift F10, I can do on PyCharm. So you can see the entire value has been printed. Now you will say, Rakesh, I don't want entire value, I want only specific values. Okay, all right, so that can also be done. For example, if I say 0, what would happen? Now in this list, if you only focus on this list has got two different values. One is nums, the other one is names. Regardless of they themselves are list. That means I'm having list inside list. So the moment I say 0, the output of this would be the first set of values, right? Now I would like to access, let's say 85, I would like to access. So what is the index number of this? 0, 1, 2, 3. So if I say 3, how do I write that? Again square bracket, and I'm going to say 3. And if I hit on run, this is going to print the 85 value. The output of this is 85. Getting it? So you can give it to a variable like x is equal to this. You know, if you give that value, get carried over to a new variable. Okay, so this is understood. How do you access a specific value from list of lists? Okay, all right. Now there are a couple of new things that you must be aware. Python has got its inbuilt functions. Okay, Python has got its inbuilt functions. One by one we are going to learn. Let's say I would like to add a value to the list. So I'm going to use the nums variable here. Dot, I would like to add a value. So I'll use the function of the method called append. Okay, I'm using the function, or you can call it as a method, append, and I'm going to add a value called 100. The moment I add append 100, what would happen? The value will get added to the beginning, or it will get added to the end, tell me. So it will always be getting added to the end of the list. For example, let's print it and see the output. So the moment I say print, and if I say nums, and if I execute this, what is the output? The 100 got added at the end of the string. Now you will say, Rakesh, I don't want to add 100 at the end of the list, but I would like to choose a position. Let's say I would like to add here. After 12, it should be added here. So how that can be done? Okay, that can be done using a function called insert. Okay, so the insert has an option to provide the index number and the object value. So here I am going to use the insert. So I'm going to provide the index number. So what is the index number? 0, 1, 2, right? I want in the second position. So I'll say 2, comma, and what is the value I would like to add? Let's say I would like to add 100 to the num array, num list. Now if you print this, what would happen? The 100 got added just after 12. Getting it? So insert is the function which can be used to specify which specific area or which specific position the value should be inserted into in the list. So this one we have understood. Now let's say we'll have a few more questions. Let's say, is it possible to understand how many times a specific value is there? For example, if I'm going to add one more value called 10 here. Okay, I would like to know how many times 10 is there inside a list. How that can be done? Okay, so to do that, I will simply say print, and I'm going to say the variable name dot, I will use the function called count, and here in this I am going to provide the value which I would like to count. Now if you see, the output should tell me there are two times the 10 is present in the list. So if you execute this, the value is saying 2. Getting it? So this is the function. Count function should be used to understand how many times a value is there. What if I would like to remove a value? Let's say I would like to remove 10. Okay, so how do I remove it? Because it's a duplicate and I would like to remove it. To remove not duplicate, but again I would like to remove a value. So how do I remove a value from a list? For that, again I'll use the nums variable, and the variables in Python are case sensitive, right? So nums, and I would like to remove it. For that, again there's a function called remove. It's a very simple English language. Remove, insert, append. So it is very easy to also to remember. So nums dot remove, and what value would you like to remove? I would like to remove 10. Okay, and then after removing, you print the nums list, and let me see how the output is coming. So now our list is in this format, having 10 two times. Is going to remove it, and then the output will be printed here, right? So let's execute this. Okay, so what happened? The 10 right, so the 10 has been removed, right? The 10 has been removed, but again it has removed the first 10. It did not remove the last 10. Getting it? Now you have a question, Rakesh, why it has deleted the first one? I wanted to delete the last one. Okay, for that, so what it does, the remove will always go from the first to the end, and is going to see wherever the value is there for the first time, it is going to remove it, right? So it has removed it. Now let's say I would like to remove the last one, or let's say the 10 is here. For example, if I type a 10 here, so the 10 is there in the position number what? 0, 1, 2, 3. The position number 3 it is available. I would like to remove that. Now for that, pop means what? Pop out, throw it out, right? Pop it out. So I'll use the function called .pop, right? So this has an option to delete a value using the index number. So here the index number is 0, 1, 2, 3. The 3 is the index number, so I'm going to say 3. Getting it? Now if you print this, the output will remove this 10 from here and print the rest of it. Okay, you can see after 5 there is a 10, and the 10 has been removed. So for that, to remove a value based on the index number, you have to use something called pop. Now you have a question, Rakesh, how about I would like to delete, right? I would like to delete multiple values at a time. This is like one value. Can I if I say 3 comma let's say 4, if I say, and let me execute. So it is giving an error, right? Pop expected at most one argument at a time. So it got 2. So you cannot use pop to remove multiple values. Now to remove multiple values, all you have to use something called del. Del means deleting, right? Del. So delete from what I would like to delete, from the variable nums, right? And then within the square bracket, right? What exactly I would like to delete. So not parenthesis, I have to use the square bracket. So use the square bracket, and here I would like to delete from the position number 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3 till end. So what I will do, 3 colon, if I say, it is going to remove everything and print. So it is now what would be the output? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So it should keep until here, and rest of it should be removed. So let's see that. Okay, let's see that. Let's execute this. So what happened? 10, 12, 5 has been printed. So until 3 it has been printed. 0, 1, 2. So 3 is not printed, but again until 3 has been printed. Okay, so first 3 values got printed, and the rest has been removed. And the same thing can be defined, 3 to 4, 3 to 5, whatever you like. You can do that exercise to specify. What if I would like to clear everything? I don't want to keep any value. I would like to clear the list. Sometimes you would like to clear the entire list, right? So to clear the entire list, what is the function I should use? Nums dot there is something called clear. Okay, clear and parenthesis. Now if you print, the output will be null. There will be no value inside the list. You can see it is a null value. Okay, so we have learned about insert, append, count, remove, right? Pop, clear, all these things, delete, we have learned. Now the next thing that we will be learning How about sorting the value? Let's say I would like to sort the value, right? This is also very important. So sorting value, again you have a function nums dot sort. Okay, sort, and then you can close the parenthesis and look at this 10, 12, 5, 10, 85, 4, 10, like this it is there, right? It on this. So this way it has sorted the values to 4, 5, 10, 10, 10, 12, 85. Getting it? So there are different things that you can experiment, but these are the very basic useful methods in a list in Python. Now let's say many programming languages, if you are done to find a minimum value, maximum value, you have to write a for each loop, and inside that for each loop you have to define, you have to really write a set of code. But in Python it's quite easy. They have their inbuilt functions. For example, if I have to print the minimum value, okay, so all I have to do, I have to simply say min, and then within brackets I would use the variable name. Let's say I'm using not names, it has to be number, right? Minimum value will be for the number, so I'll use the nums variable. Okay, now doing this, if you see it is going to print the minimum value from the list. What is the minimum value? 4 is the minimum value, right? If I'm going to execute this, the output has shown 4. The same thing can be done. Let's say I would like to print the max value. I will say max and num. So these are the inbuilt inbuilt functions. Sorry, I have written in capital, so max small. Okay, now if I execute, 85. Getting it, the maximum value is 85. So these things are quite easy in Python. You don't have to really write a set of codes to find a minimum value, maximum value, but this can be easily done in Python just by using the inbuilt functions. Okay, now one more thing, there is something called let's say if you would like to add this this one with this one, so there is something called, for example, if I say nums, the variable name nums dot, there is something called extend. Okay, extend, and if I say the next list names, so what would happen, let me show you. If I say print nums execute, now tell me what would happen. This is going to add these two values or this two pair of data into a single list. So there are two different lists and I'm combining both the list into this one. Okay, this is one way. The other way, let's say I would like to add some multiple values into a existing list, so that can also be done. All you have to do, use a square bracket and mention some value. Let's say I want to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 values I would like to add into num. Okay, now if you print this, what would happen? The output would come. Do you see? It has been, all had been added, multiple values had been added to list at in a one shot, right? With one code I have added all the multiple values to list in Python. Getting it? So these are the different ways or different functions that will be very, very useful in list. I hope you are enjoying this series, and I'm pretty sure in this video you have learned a lot of things around list in Python, how to use. We have learned about different functions. So please do visit, please do practice, and please do maintain a notebook where you are writing everything, because what you learned today, nobody can guarantee if you are going to remember it after a few days, right? You might have a little bit of doubt. So it is always good practice to write it in a book, and it is always a good practice to refer that book anytime you are free. Just refer that book, it will be quite easy to recall what you have learned. So thank you guys for watching this video. And in this video we are going to learn tuple. You can call it as a tuple in Python, or many people call it as tuple in Python. Okay, whatever you call doesn't matter, but we need to understand what is tuple and how do you use it. So let's get started and understand. Okay, so first of all, in the previous video I taught what is a list. For example, if I have to create a list, I'll give it a name called my list, and here the list will always start from a square bracket. I said in the previous video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what this is doing, this is holding list of collection of different values in a single variable. Okay, then what is tuple? right? For example, let me show you and I will make you understand what is this and what is the difference. So if I say my tuple, I created a variable and the tuple will start with a parenthesis. Okay, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Now Rakesh, what is the difference? Why do you call this as a tuple and why do you call this as a list? What are the differences? Okay, now first thing, before we understand the differences, let's focus on the syntax. When you are writing a list, right, what did I say? When you're writing a list, you should focus on the word L, right? L. So any list you would like to create should start with a square bracket. So L is a symbolic way. Okay, if you put a dash on the top, right, it appears like a square bracket. So using this L alphabet, I will memorize. Okay, so I have to use a square bracket when I have to use a list. When it comes to tuple, you have to focus on the word P, tuple. So P has a kind of a parenthesis symbol, right? So you have to use a parenthesis symbol in the tuple. So that is all about the memory part. That's simple. But we have to understand what is the exact difference. So let me tell you. For example, if I have to print the list, so what I will say, print the variable name, and if I have to print the tuple, I'll say my tuple and run it. So shift F10 on PyCharm. So the moment I run, what happened? You can see the first one is the list got printed and the second one is the tuple got printed. Now what is the difference? Let me tell you. So if I ask you, can you add duplicate values in the list? Can you add duplicate values? Yes or no? Yes, we can add. So if I say 5 comma 5, one more duplicate value, if I add, it will allow. And the same thing also is allowed in a tuple. Duplicate values are allowed in a tuple. For example, if I run this, if it is a problem, it will throw me error, right? Now you can see both the things are allowing duplicate values. Then Rakesh, what is the difference? What is the difference between the tuple and list? So let me tell you, the tuple has an order. For example, the 1 is there in the position number 0, in the index number 0. 2 is there in the index number 1, 3 is there in the index 2, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, and the same thing goes with the list. But in the list, I can interchange the positions. So let me delete this duplicate and show you in demo. I have an option to interchange the order. So I can put 5 in the beginning, I can put 3 anywhere I like, I would like to put 4 anywhere I like, I can change the order of a list. So changing order of values allowed, change of order of values allowed. But in tuple, changing the order is not allowed. I am not typing the entire word, but the change of values are not allowed. The order, change of what? The order of values is not allowed. For example, let me show you this example. You will be pretty clear. So what happens if I say my list and if I say sort, right? And let's say I would like to sort it in a reverse order. So I'll say reverse equals to 1. Okay. And if I run this, what happens? The entire list will be printed in the reverse order. Let me use the print command. Print my list. Okay. So if I do this, if I run it, what happens? The entire order, I mean the value which was there in the position number, index number 4, now it has moved to the beginning. So the placing the values in different order is possible, right? But the same thing is not possible with a tuple. For example, if you type my tuple, right, and there is no method called sort. Okay, if you see, there's no method called sort, but in case you go about typing it and say reverse equals to 1, if you go about typing it, if you run it, it will throw immediately a error, attribute error. Tuple object has no attribute sort, so you cannot really change the order of the value. So this is one of the point in tuple that makes it very different from the list. The list where we can change the orders. Now in tuple we cannot change the order. Duplicate values are allowed in both of them. Okay, I can have a duplicate value in list, I can have a duplicate value in tuple, but changing the order of the values is not allowed in any means, right? For example, in my list, I can insert a value anywhere I like. For example, let's say I can remove the value, right? All these things I can do with the list. Remove value, insert value. Let's say I would like to insert in the position number 2, I would like to insert in the index number 2, I would like to insert 100. So this is possible with a list, right? So list is always can be changed. You can have duplicate values, you can mute it, right? Mutable is possible, you can change the values of it. Now print my list, right? If I do this and if I run this, what happened? 100 can be added. So the 3 was having in the position of here, that has been replaced with a different value. So the order, the position value, everything can be changed. So it's completely changeable. Remove, delete, add, right, clear, all these things are possible. But with tuple, these things are not possible, because the moment you type tuple and hit on a dot, there are 2 different options which are available. One is the count, the other one is index. For example, how the count works, let me show you. So count, let's say I would like to know the count of 1 in the tuple. So the value, okay, count of 1, and here if I say print okay and do a try to execute, you can see the 1 is available one time. If I say write 1, because duplicate is allowed in a tuple, so let's say I'm going to write 1 couple of times, and now if I run it, it will say the 1 value is available 3 times in the tuple. Okay, so the very minimal methods are available with the tuple. Now you would say, Rakesh, what is the practical use when we can do all these things with list? Why we have to really use a tuple? So let me tell you, tuple should be chosen. I mean, you should use the tuple kind of a data type only when you feel once it is created, you don't have to really change it. Right. For example, what is a practical example? Let me show you the practical example of a tuple. Let's say my tuple top ranks. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a variable called top ranks. So in the top ranks, what would happen? The tuple has to always start with a parenthesis. You have to remember the word p, right? Parenthesis. Okay. Now here the top rank, let's say top 3 ranks. Okay, my tuple top 3 ranks I have written the variable. So here the this will remain definite, right? You will not change it every time. I mean, this year who are the toppers? Let's say Rakesh. Wow, I'm a topper. Okay, John. So this values won't change, right? This values won't change. This would remain. These are the 3 toppers. Let's say Rahul. Okay, so if I'm writing this, what is happening? These are the 3 different toppers which would remain constant. This won't change its value. This will not change its position. Rahul will not become the rank 1, or Rakesh will not become this one. For this year, this is the result. Maybe next year he might be, right? So in such a condition, you will be using a tuple where you don't have to change the values, or you don't have to really change, or there will be no need of changing the order. In such a situation, you should go for a tuple. That is a practical use case what I'm talking about. Okay, so you understood how to define a tuple, you understood that duplicate values are allowed in a tuple, right? And you understood that the order cannot be changed. You cannot put Rahul at the beginning. Once it is created, it's all done. If I'm going to the next line, that means this is all done. Only you can come to the code and change it. But again, in terms of writing a code and adding, inserting values, clearing the value, remove, right, all those methods are not available with tuple. Okay, what is available with list? In the list, if you see, if you put a dot, there are multiple things you can do: count, index, insert, extend, clear, remove, append, sort, copy. All these things can be done, right? But the same thing is not possible with tuple. Okay, cannot add, remove items. You cannot add or remove items once it's created. When you are running the program, you cannot with the code, you cannot add values. Nothing can be done with the tuple. So that's the use of tuple in short, guys. Thank you very much. But there are also ways you can convert the tuple into a string and into a list, and from the list you can add new values to it. So all these tricks are available, which I'm going to show you later. But again, this should be your understanding what is a tuple. Tuple has to start with a parenthesis, and the list always starts with a square bracket. List has complete flexibility. It can have duplicates, it can change its order, it can change the value positions, everything can be done. right? In the tuple, it cannot be done on, you cannot change the order. Once created, it will remain as it is. Okay, you don't have a method to add new values, you do not have a method to remove values, so it's just fixed one, and it should only be used where it is really required. For example, top 3 ranks of a college, right? For so and so year, so that remains constant, that won't change until next year. So in such a case, you can go for this kind of a variable. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have got an understanding and got a understanding of the difference between the list and tuple. Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn what is set data type in Python and what is the differences between the set data type, the list data type, the tuple data type. Okay, everything, if you watch only the single video, you will be pretty clear about all of these things. So let's get started and understand set. So first thing, before we understand set, if I ask you what is a collection? Collection means what? If you create a variable and inside the variable, if you assign multiple values to a single variable, this would be termed as a collection. The word collection is clear. Collection means what? A single variable holding multiple values. So in Python, there are different types of collections. So till now, what we are focusing is list kind of a data type, which is a collection. The other is a tuple, which is a collection, and the third one is a set, is a collection, and the other one is a dictionary also. So right now we will just stick on to this list, tuple, set, and try to understand the difference. So these are the different types of collections. Now, if I ask you, hey, can you create a list variable in Python and show me, and assign some values and show me? So what you do, you give it a variable, and then for list, I'll be using a square bracket. And I told you in my previous video to remember that list will always use a square bracket. I have to remember the alphabet L. If you put a bar on the top of L, it appears like a square, right? So L will be your memory reference. It's just for your memory reference, just to remember it for a long time. So here I will use a square bracket for a list kind of a variable. Okay, and I have declared a list variable. If I ask you, hey, can you create a tuple variable? Again, what you do? You create a variable name, and for tuple, I said you have to remember the P for parenthesis. Okay, the P word you have to remember. P for parenthesis. So I will use a parenthesis, and same thing, I am going to assign few values. Clear? So this will become a tuple data type. If I ask you, how do you create a set type of data variable in Python? So you give it a name, a variable name, and for set, you have to use a curly braces. For curly braces, you have to remember the S alphabet. If you look at the S, if you try to make it slightly, modify it in your imagination, it will more appear like a curly. If you, not exactly, but again, S will be your memory reference. Okay, S. So curly braces. So curly braces, if you write, this will become a set kind of a data type. Now the biggest question that will appear in the mind, now I am confused. So what is the difference out of all this, right? That is the question that would come. Okay, let me tell you. So how do you remember the difference between these three data types is the biggest question that one would have. So to understand the difference, let me ask you a few questions. Does a list allow you to have duplicate values? This is one of the property, right? So list would allow you can have duplicate values written inside a list, right? So similar way, there are a couple of other properties I'm going to mention, and then we will experiment. Does it allow you to add a new value? Yes. Does it allow you to add or remove a new value, remove a value from a list or a collection? Okay. The next property would be duplicate value, add, remove, and the next would be does it allow you to put it in order? Can I place a value from here to there, right? Does it allow? And the fifth point would be, or let's say the fourth point will be, does it allow you to modify a element value? For example, here it is 4. I would like to replace that with some other number, let's say 99 or 100. Can I do it? This is one of the property of a collection. And the other fifth property is, does it allow you to change the order? For example, 5 is here. I want the 5 to be here in the index number 0. Can I replace the order? Okay, these are the 5 different properties based on which we will remember what are the differences or what are the differences between these 3 data types. So let's start with the very first one. Does it allow you to have duplicate values? So what I will do, I will put a comma and add some 555 to all of it. What I'm doing, I'm adding some 55 to all of this different collections, list, tuple I have added, and the my set I have added. Now if you execute this, to execute and see the output, I will use a print command and I will say my list first, then I will say my tuple, and then I will say my set. So these are the 3 different data types I have mentioned. So now if I print it, now tell me what is the difference. So in duplicate values, when it comes to duplicate values, list will allow you to have duplicate values. So I will say yes, it allows the duplicate values, yes to duplicate values. Now tuple will also allow you to have duplicate values, so I will say yes, right? Then set won't allow you to have duplicate values, the one in the curly braces. You see I have typed 5 but it doesn't allow me to have duplicate values, remember. So that is first difference. So a set doesn't allow to have duplicate value. So for duplicate value, these are the answers. Clear? Now let's focus on the add. Can I add a new value to list? Yes, I can add. So how do you really add? For example, if I say my list dot append dot insert, right, there are different options that I have, dot insert, right. With that I can add a value. Let's say I want to add 100. Okay, so I'm going to remove the duplicates, okay, from all of it. Let's focus on our subject of adding a value. So I'll remove the duplicates. Okay, all looks same. Now I am working on the list. In the list, what I'm doing, my list dot insert 100, and I can mention where I would like to insert that. Let's say I would like to insert it at the position number 4, let's say 4 comma. So I can do that. Now if I run it, you will see for the list output, right, for the list output, what happened, the 100 has been added to the index number 4, 0 1 2 3 4. So addition is possible in list, adding a new value. Can you add a new value in tuple? So no, because these are all fixed values. Once created in a tuple, it's done. So if you say my tuple dot add, so you don't have a proper if you say add, let me try it, add, and let me add a value, let's say 12. Now if you run this, it will throw you an error stating the tuple doesn't have an attribute add. So you can't really add anything. In a tuple is a fixed size, just that it allows you to have duplicate values, but it doesn't allow you to add a value to it. Getting it? You cannot add a value to a tuple. Now let's look at a set. In a set, can I add values? Is it possible for me to add values? So let's see that. All you do, take the variable dot, if you type add, yes, there's an option to add value. So let's say it doesn't allow duplicate, but I can add values. So let's say I'm going to add value 100, and if you run this, the difference that you find, the 100 has been added. Let's say I'm going to add 98. You cannot make sure that the value will always be added at the end. Okay, for example 98 I'm trying to add, so 90 got added at the end. So you can't control it. It can add the value anywhere it likes. For example 5 was already there, so it did not allow the duplicate value. For example let's say 8. Okay, let me try. Okay, so now it is appearing like it is always adding at the end. Let me do little modification. Okay, let's say I'm typing 8 let's say 7 comma 19 comma 12 something, I'm trying some random numbers. Now look at it. What I'm trying to say, it will add a value, but you can't control where it got added. See, this time it has added in the second position, right? So you can't control where it's going to add the value. Okay, for example, if I write 99, so this is very important thing that one should know, that the moment you are trying to add a value in a set, it can add anywhere it likes. Okay, so 99, if I run it, see 99 got added at the beginning. So yes, so addition is possible, right? Addition in a set is possible. Yes, you can add, but you can't decide the order where it will be added. right? Here you can decide the order. You can decide the order where you want to add. You want to add the end, then you can use append. So this is possible in the list, but in set it is not possible. You can add it, but you can't decide where to add it. This is one of the important difference. Okay, this one we have understood. Let me put a comma. So two different properties we have explored, and we have understood the differences between them. Okay, you can't add. So here you can add. You can't have duplicates, but you can add, but cannot decide order, right? But cannot decide order. So these three things are very clear. Okay, so just for confusing, okay, this is fine, right? Now let's look at remove. Can I remove a value from a list? If I say my list dot remove, so yes, you can remove a value. For example, I want to remove 5. Okay, can you remove a value from a tuple? If I say my tuple dot the variable name, so is there a way to remove it? No, you can't remove. You cannot add, you cannot even remove. So the answer is no to this. So the answer is no to yes to this, right? In a list we can add, but in a tuple we can't. Okay, can I okay, so remove, I will show you, it will throw an error. And for set, okay, for set, can I remove? Yes, you can remove. Remove is highly possible in a set. So for example, if I want to remove 25 from the above set, right, I would like to remove 25. Now let's print and see the output. So what happened for the tuple? It has given the error. I told you the tuple, it has given the error. Okay, so let me remove this code, line code, which is giving error. Let me execute. So what happened? 1 2 3 4 5. So for list I have not done it. Okay, for tuple, look at this. For set what happened? I would like to remove 25, so it has removed 25th. 7 19 56 it has kept, but again the typing is in a different order. See, 7 was at the beginning, but it has, so you cannot decide the order. One of the important point for the set is you cannot decide the order. It can put it in any order, because in a set indexing is not done. Okay, so all these 3 points we have verified. Now let's look at modify. Okay, can you modify a element? Is it possible to modify an element? So let me tell you, to modify an element in a list, it is possible. Okay, how can I modify? For example, if I say my list, okay, and in square bracket if I say index number, let's say 3, okay, index number 3, you modify that value which is there in index number 3, which is 4 here, right? Modify, update that value with let's say 80. Now if you print this, you will see the value has been 4 has been replaced with 80. So it is highly possible to modify the existing value in a list. So list is very flexible. Okay, list is very flexible. But is it possible? You cannot add, you cannot remove. Do you think you can modify? No, modification is also not possible in tuple. You cannot, a value cannot be changed. Okay, you cannot change, even you cannot, getting it, you cannot modify a value in tuple. It's not possible. Only thing it allows it allows you to have duplicate values, but it doesn't allow you to add a new value to it, remove a value to it, or modify a value from it. Okay, once created is done. Tuple is very restricted. Okay, now here, does it allow you to modify element value in tuple, sorry, in set? No, the answer is no, it doesn't. You cannot change elements, but you can add and remove values, but you cannot change an existing element. There is no option. For example, you type my set, okay, my set, let's say I want to, because a set doesn't have index number. Let's say I am mentioning 3, right, that is 0 1 2 3, 56 should be replaced with 99. See, it will immediately throw me an error. What is the error? Set object does not support item assignment. So you cannot assign or modify a value to a specific, you cannot modify it. Okay, modification is not possible. So all these things we have understood. Now let's look at the last property, changing order. Changing order means, for example, if I say my list variable, if I say short, so if I say short, what would happen? What is the output? 1 2 3 4 5 will become 5 4 3 2 1 now. Short reverse, I will say. Okay, reverse equals to 1. If I say this, what would happen? The entire value which was there like this has been modified to 54321. Okay, the same thing is not possible for tuple. No, you cannot change the order. Order cannot be changed. Tuples values are kept in order and cannot be changed. Cannot change, add, remove items from tuple. So no for everything apart from duplicate values. Now in a set, can I change order? Because a set, every time you print, it can print in a different style. See, 56 has come in the beginning. Next time when you print, it could be a different order, right? It could print in any order. You can't control that. For a tuple, you can't really control it, okay? So if let's say I'm going to add a value 99, comma, so it can automatically, it can print in any order. You don't have a control. So answer for this one, in a tuple, order is automatic. You can't decide. So because it's automatic, it's very fast to access collection data from a tuple, because the processor will not think which one to pick. So it is very fastest way. When you define something in a tuple and doesn't matter, the order doesn't matter, then this becomes the fastest way. The next fastest way would be set is the fastest way, and tuple is the second fast, or you can say faster. Okay, least faster is this one. This is slower. Okay, slower, faster, and this is fastest. Okay, this is the list. Will definitely take a lot of processing time, because a lot of things can be done with this. Set takes very less time, because any order, it doesn't matter for the system. If there's a duplicate, it doesn't print. So it is the fastest way of accessing a collection data. This is the second fastest one. The slower one is this one, list. Okay, so I hope with this example you must have got a lot of clarity around list, tuple, set, and you should not forget the differences what I've taught in this video. So thank you guys for this video. We are going to meet once again in the next video. So please do stay connected, practice this several times, so that all these things I taught will be pretty clear. Okay, when you look at this, it is confusing, but when you practice, it will be pretty clear. Okay, and make a note in a notebook. This will be pretty clear to you. Hey guys, myself Rakesh, and I welcome you back to my channel. In this video, we are going to learn dictionary in Python. What are dictionary? What is the practical example of a usage of a dictionary? What are different methods involved inside a dictionary in Python? Everything, almost all the details around the dictionary we are going to learn in this video. First of all, let me give you a practical scenario. If I ask you, hey Rakesh, what do? You have to store employee details in a variable, but again that employee detail should have below things. For example, it should have employee ID, it should have employee name, it should have employee location. So these are the three different attributes the employee detail variable should have. Getting it? So this is the requirement. So now you will say, how do I do it? Single variable, and there are three different attributes inside that, and I should store it. Okay, this is highly possible through the uses of a dictionary. For example, let me show you how do I do it. So I will say employee details. Okay, employee details is the variable equals to, I will use a two curly braces, and the curly braces I am going to say employee ID. And remember, because employee ID is a string, I have to put it in a quote, double quote or single quote, doesn't matter. Use a colon, and I'm going to say 1001 is the employee ID, comma, separate by comma, then I'm going to say employee name, right, employee name, colon, and I'm going to say Rakesh, and let's say separate by comma, and I'm going to say employee location, colon, and I want to put it in quote Bangalore. So now what is happening? This employee detail variable, one variable, is going to contain all these kinds of attributes. One is the employee ID, it is also holding the employee name, it is also holding the employee location. So this is called as dictionary. Okay, so let's see whether it's a dictionary class or what is the class of this variable. So for that I will say print, I will say type, and then I'm going to put the dictionary name, which is employee details. If I run this, it will tell you the class is DICT, which stands for dictionary. So this much is clear. Okay, now let's say the very first thing, what is that comes to our mind, okay, I have created a variable. I would like to see the the variable and see whether all the data are all the data that I have entered is available inside the dictionary or not. Okay, very well, just type print. Just by doing this, it gives you the output that yes, whatever you have created, the variable does contain all these values. Now you will say, Rakesh, I am not happy with this data. What if I would like to only see the keys, or I would only like to see the values? How do I do it? Okay, very simple method I'm going to teach you. For that, you have to say employee. So let me use a variable x is equal to employee details dot keys. So what this will do, if I say print x, what this is going to do, if I run it, it's going to only fetch. So it is, if you look at the output, it's saying the dictionary keys are employee ID, employee name, employee location. So there are only 3 different keys. So this is one way. Let's say you are not happy with this, then this doesn't look so good. I would like to print it in a different way. Okay, for that I'll use a for loop. So I will say for x in what employee details, for x in employee details dot keys colon. So I would like to print all the keys that are available in employee details and assign it to the variable called x, and whatever one value it is coming at a time, I would like to print that. So I'll say print x. So if I do this, look at the output, how it has come. If I run this, the output will be slightly different. It is just writing one item at a time, one key at a time, right? Employee ID, employee name, employee location. So this is clear. So keys are clear. Now what if I would like only value? So all you do, replace the keys with the values. Very simple. So I'm going to replace this with the method values. Done. Now if I run this, what would happen? From the entire dictionary, what got printed? From the print text, it has just printed the everything that is there in the dictionary, and using a for each I can print the exact values. 10,001 Rakesh and Bangalore has been printed. Getting it? So this is very clear as to how you will be working on a dictionary, right? How do you get the items, how do you get the values separately? So this you have learned. Now let's say I would like to add a new key and value. Let's say the boss says, hey, you have to add the employee joining date of joining you should have. So date of joining is not there. So how do I add it? It's very simple. In dictionary, all you have to do is take the dictionary name, right? After taking the dictionary name, all you have to mention the new key that I would like to add. So DOJ, date of joining, equals to, and the value, because this is already an existing dictionary and I would like to add values inside this. So let's say date of joining is 1st January 2022, and let's print the output. We would like to see, right, does it have it or not. So I will say employee details. I'll take the name of the dictionary variable, and now if I run it, you will see the date of joining, which was not there, now it has been added to the dictionary. So this is how you will add a new item into the dictionary, to the existing dictionary. Okay, this I have understood. What if I would like to update the employee ID? It is actually not 10,001. There has to be one more zero into it. So how do I update or change the value of an existing key? So to do that, all I have to do, simply take the name of the dictionary. Okay, name of the dictionary, and then in the square bracket I will mention the column, the key name where I would like to update the value. So I'll say employee ID. Now I will say equals to, the same format, equals to, and I'm going to say this has to have one more zero. I'll put one more zero, 1. So I've updated it, and let's print this value and see if it has really got updated or not. Let's say make it to 2. Okay, let's make it to 2. It should not start with 1, it should start with 2. So I'll say print the dictionary variable name, and I'm done. Now let's run it. So what happened here, if you see, the employee ID has been updated with the new value. So getting it, how to update a value inside a existing key, you understood. How to add a new key and value pair, or how to add a new item into the dictionary, you have understood, right? Now let's say I would like to make it little more sophisticated. How? For example, if I say if I would like to see if the key date of joining is present in the dictionary employee details. If it is present, if the date of joining, so do I have a date of joining now in this dictionary? No, I don't have. So if it is there, then it will print what? It will print, it will say yes, it is present, yes, it is present, yes, the key is present, yes, the key is present, else colon enter, and I will, if it is not there, then I would like to add. So how will you add? First thing, you have to take the dictionary name, then use a square bracket and provide the column that the key that you would like to add. So I will say date of joining equals to, I would like to add a value, let's say I would add 1 Jan 2022, right? Now, so what is happening, this is going to do only if it is not there, it's going to add. If it is there, it's not going to add it. So let's say if the column is not there, it's not going to add it. Now let's say I would like to print it, print, and then I would like to print what? The employee details dictionary variable. Now hit on enter. So what is happening now, if you see in the employee details dictionary, and the value got added with the condition, what if I'm going to copy this and already put it, and I'm going to put a comma and then paste it here. So now in the dictionary it is already present, so it should say yes, the key is present. If I run it now, what is the what should be the output? Yes, the key is present, right? That should be the output. Yeah, so here you can see yes, the key is present is the output. It is there on the top. Okay, so let me remove the print there. So here if you see, yes, the key is present. Getting it? So this is the output which has come. So one thing you can do, you can write, instead of giving a space, you can write it here, so it will become a block of code. So for example, I can say print employee details. So it is part of this else block. So this way, if I run it, it will say yes, the key is present. Let's say if I'm going to remove this and run it, now what would happen? It is going to print the entire dictionary. Getting it? So there are multiple things that we have learned till now. Now there are still few questions. What if I would like to clear the dictionary completely? Can I clear it? Let's say employee details, there is a method called clear, and now if I would like to print it and say employee details and run this, what would happen? It is clearing the data. The dictionary is still there, but it has cleared the data. Okay, what if I would like to delete it? For example, if I say delete and then employee details, okay, delete the employee detail, the dictionary name I'm providing. Now if I like to print it, if I print the employee details, you will see there is a difference between these two. The second one, the first one has printed and saying the dictionary is there, but again it's completely blank. And the second one is saying the dictionary itself is not there. When I'm trying to print in the line number 6, it is saying name employee details is not defined. That means it has completely deleted. Getting it? So this is one more thing that you should learn. Another thing, let's say from employee details, I would like to pass it to a different dictionary, right? I would like to pass it. So what I can do, I'll say employee overall. There's a variable, let's say employee overall equals to employee details dot copy. So I can copy the dictionary value and load it to a different variable. This can be done, and I can say print, and I can say employee overall, and if I run this, you can see the employee overall is now going to have the existing data, whatever is there. So these are the couple of different methods that we have learned around the dictionary variable in Python. We have seen a couple of practical examples, the practical situations, and how do you update, how do you add, how do you remove. So there is a lot of learning, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Hey guys, in this video let's learn about nested dictionary. what is the meaning of nested dictionary and how do you really create it. This is very, very useful. I'm going to teach you with examples. With that, let's get started and understand the nested dictionary concept. Let's say if I ask you, hey Rakesh, create a variable which is going to store employee details, right? Let's say I'm going to create a variable called employee1, and here I have to store, let's say, the ID colon, then you are giving a value, then separated by a comma, then you have to store name, then colon, and you are saying Rakesh, then comma, right? And then I want to store the email address, so I will say email colon, and then I'm going to say Rakesh @ let's say test.com. Okay, so like that. Likewise, I'm creating a dictionary and storing the value of employee details. What if you have to store multiple such employee details? For example, if I make it to employee 2, okay, and let me quickly change the values to and give it a name, let's say John, and let me change the email to John, right? ID, let's change it to 1003. Let's say Rahul, and then I'm changing it to Rahul. So now there are 3 different employees. Now tell me, how would you really keep all these 3 dictionaries? So each of them are dictionary, each individual items are dictionaries. Now how do you put each dictionary into a separate dictionary? Tell me, right? So that is the concept. For example, if I ask you, create a variable called employee details, and that should have all the employee1, employee2, employee3. So how this can be done? Okay, we'll follow the same format of dictionary, employee details. Then I will have to use curly braces. So hit on enter because I have to have multiple details. And then the first thing I'm going to copy, I'm going to copy paste these 3 values inside this, and then we will make the formatting. So I've done copy pasting. Now what I will do, because in a key, if you are creating a dictionary, the first is a key, right? So here, because this is the parent dictionary, so this is a key, this is a key, this is a key, and this is the value, this is the value, and this is the value, right? The 3 values, 3 keys. Getting it? Because this is becoming the parent dictionary. So let me delete the top one. So what is happening? This is the parent dictionary, and inside that I have got child dictionaries, employee1. So here, what are the keys? This is a key, this is a key, this is a key. So now, because keys are strings, first thing what I should do, I should put them inside a quote, right? Single quote or double quote. So I need to put them into, because these are strings. Again, the moment you copy paste inside the parent dictionary, this all become a key. So all this has become a key. Now all this becoming a value. So key and value should be always be separated by a colon, not a equal symbol, right? So all I am doing, I am replacing all of this to a equal symbol. Colon symbol. Removing the equal and putting a colon symbol. And all this value should be separated by a comma, right? Comma, because this is the last one. You will leave it as it is. So now what happened? This entire thing, employee1, employee2, employee3, right? Employee3. Okay. Now what happened? The entire thing has become a dictionary, right? With these are the keys, and after the colon, these are the values. So how many total keys, total values? 3. Okay, this is understood. Now the first thing what one would like to do is they would like to print this newly created nested dictionary in Python. So if I print this, what is the value I'm getting? I'm getting the everything that are coming, right? Now the question here is, Rakesh, how about I want to fetch only the employee1? So what is the format I taught you? The format is very simple. You write the parent or the nested dictionary, and within the square bracket you have to write the key. What is the key here? This time employee1, employee2, employee3 are the keys. Let's say I want employee1, so again put it in quote and say employee1. So if you run this now, what details are you getting? ID 101, Rakesh, email address. Only the details of the employee1 is coming, correct? So now here next question that comes to my mind, Rakesh, how about I would like to only fetch the email address of the employee? Getting it? I would like to only fetch the email address of the employee in a nested dictionary. So how do I do that? So it's very simple. I'll create a variable called x equals to, I'm saying employee details, the variable name, right? And I would like to fetch what? I would like to fetch employee1. employee 1, because this is the key name I have provided. Okay, after that what I would like to fetch? The email address. So what I will do, I'll simply say email, right? Email is the one, so I will select this tab, and this email has to be quoted, right? So okay, let me write it manually. Email. Okay, this has to be quoted. So what would happen now if you try to print X? If I try to print X, the output will be the email address. Getting it? This is the syntax. Now if I run it, what is the output? rakeshtest.com. Similar way, any value that I like, I can fetch it. Let's say employee 3 and I need the ID number. So this is how you can assign these values to a variable and print them out. See, 1003 has come. Okay, so this is all about nested dictionary, guys, and all the methods that do apply to a dictionary does apply to a nested dictionary. It doesn't matter. This is just a dictionary, right? So everything, let's say I would like to add a new employee. I would like to add a new employee into the existing dictionary. So how can I do it? How can I do it? So again, I will take the dictionary name, okay, and then I'm using a what? I'm using a square bracket, and in that I would like to add what? Employee 3. So I'll say employee 3. Then what are the values that I would like to add? I will say equals to. Then these are the values I would like to add. Getting it? So I'll copy this and paste here, and I'm going to say 1004. And then I will change it to, let's say, Ramesh, and his email address is Ramesh, let's say. So this is how I'll be adding. The moment I add it, I would like to print and see if the value is there, right? So I will say print, and then I will print the entire employee details and try to run it now. Okay, so what happened? If you go to the right of my screen, if I go to the right of my screen, you can see employee, sorry, why did I say employee 3? It should be employee 4, right? Okay, run employee 4. Let me run it again. So if I do it, so you can see employee 4 has been added. Getting it? So the same rules that we have learned for the dictionary in the previous video, the same thing will apply over here. You would like to remove, delete, everything can be, all the methods can be applied to the newly created variable employee details, which is a nested dictionary. Okay, let's say you would like to know the type of this. You say type, and I'm applying it to this one, right? Now let's run it and see the type. Class is dictionary. Dictionary is a dictionary variable only, just that it has dictionaries inside the dictionaries. Getting it, guys? So with this example, it should be pretty clear how to utilize nested dictionaries. Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn the next thing. How do you write a if else in Python, right? And there are various different operators that we are going to, logical operators we are going to check in this video. Let's get started. Okay, let's understand if else in Python. First of all, to understand this, we'll create two variables. Let's say I'm going to assign a is equal to 10, and let's say I'm going to assign b is equal to 10. So there are two different values, same value in two different variables. Now if I have to write a if condition, so I'll say if, and everything will be written in lowercase. Okay, if a equals to b, do you write a single equals to b, or you write equals to b in Python? So it will be equals to b colon, then if they are equal, then it should print what? It should print yes. If they are not equal, then I'll say else colon. The moment you put colon, it will take you to the left side. So this space is very, very important. This is known as the white space. This represents a block of a code, so ensure the space is there. Okay, else print no, right? So I'll say no. Okay, so that's all. So what we are learning here, the first thing that we are learning is when you have to write a equal symbol, right? In Python, what are the symbol for that? Equals to. Okay, this is the first thing we have learned. So let's learn it. Let's run it. They can see the value saying yes. What if I say 20 to this and run it? The value will say no. Okay, this much is clear. Now let's learn the next thing. Greater than. If A is, let's say, less than. Okay, so less than symbol is simple. A less than. Okay, less than B. If A is less than B, it will print yes. Yes, in our case it is less than. So this is the symbol. So for less than, what is the symbol? Less than, the symbol is this one. Okay, angular bracket. Okay, now for greater than, it is just the opposite. So if I put greater than, what is the output? A is greater than B. In this case, no. So it will print no. So the answer is no. Output is no. Okay, so greater than is this one. Less than, if I say, if you have to write less than equals to, how do you write less than equals to? So less than equals to. Okay, for example, if A is less than or equals to, this is how you write. So it should print yes, it is less than, right? Let's say if I make it to equal, the same value if I put for B, what would happen? It is saying yes. So same way, less than equals to, greater than equals to will be written like this. Okay, so these are the couple of logical operators that is quite general in most of the programming language, no much difference. So this is what you should know about, right? So if else you have understood, I'm going to talk about what if instead of me writing such a big statement, can I write it in a single line, which you call it as shorthand code. So can I write the if else in a single line? Yes, it can be written. For example, print yes if A is less than B. Let's say I'm putting a condition just like that. If A is less than B, else print no. So what is happening? The same thing, just here, if A is less than B. So let me make it, let's say 30. If it is A is less than B, where in this case yes, so it should print yes, else print no. So here if I run this, it is printing yes. So with this, what I did, the entire couple of lines code, I put it in a single liner. Okay, this is also one of the important thing that you should know. If I make A as 80 or 82, let's say, if I run this, what happened? The answer is no. Getting it? So the conditions are executing, the symbols are important. Okay, another thing I forgot, not equals to. Okay, if A is not equals to, how do you write? So you will put an exclamation mark and then put a equal symbol. So not equal is written like that. Okay, not equal is written with exclamation mark and single equal to symbol. If A is not equals to B, you print yes. If A is not equals to B, that means you should print yes. Okay, if I make both of them equal, then it should print no. Getting it? So these are the couple of logical operators that you should know. We are going to come up with few more in the next upcoming videos. Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn elif in Python. That means else if. So what is this if else or elif? What is it? Let's going to learn in Python. And on top of that, I am going to teach you how can you ask for input from user in Python. Okay, both the things you're going to learn in this video. So with that, let's get started and understand what is elif. Okay, so we will always use a practical example, right? Practical thing which we can really use it. So let me start asking a user input. Okay, so let me create a variable called user input equals to, how will you ask to the user? For example, I would like to ask the user what is the count of number of books you have read for this month. Number of books you have read for this month, I would like to ask. So for that, you will be using the input function. Okay, and inside this you can ask whatever you like. For example, what is the count or what is the count of books you read this month, right? If you're asking this, right, or let's say enter the count of, or enter the number of, whatever, enter the number of books you read this month. So the moment you are showing this to the user is supposed to enter a value, and that value should go to the user input. So first of all, let's understand this, okay, how this one works, then we will go further. So I'm just trying to print the output. So if I run this, let's say I'm going to enter 10, hit enter. So what is happening? It is printing the 10. Now just to make it little more, because people might enter a string or anything can happen, right? Or somebody will write 10. So I would like to convert that. So everybody should only enter a number. If not, it will throw error. So I'll put that in the int. Int means it is going to convert this value to integer format. That's all. For example, okay, if I enter, let's say I'm saying 6 in alphabet, it is going to throw an error. What is the error? Invalid literal for int with the base 10. 6 is entered. Okay, so you have to always enter a number. Okay, so this we have defined and we understood how this one is working. Now the moment user is entering a value, we will start creating some conditions. Okay, some condition. For example, if user input is greater than or equals to 5, then I'm putting a colon mark, then I'm saying print. What I would like to print? I would like to print excellent job. Getting it? Now I'll put another condition. Now to write another next condition, I am going to use elif. That means if the first condition is not working, then go with the second condition. What is the second condition? User input. So how do you write this? User input, right, greater than or equals to 3, and right, it is greater than or equals to 3 and it is less than 5. Getting it? If it is less than 5, then you say print. So okay, you cannot simply write less than 5, you have to literally give the variable user input less than 5. Okay, then I am saying what you do, then you print what I would like to print, good job. Okay, I would like to say good job to the user. Getting it? If let's say I'll put one more condition, I will say I'll hit a backspace and say elif, right, elif, I'm using one more condition, user input is greater than 0, and user input is less than 3. Getting it? The first condition is it is greater than or equals to 3, that means could be 3 or 2. It is less than 3, so I'll say less than 3. Okay, if it is less than 3 and greater than 0, maybe it could be 1, 2, right? It could be 1 or 2. If that is the case, you will say to the user print okay. I will say okay, you need to improve the count. Okay, I said okay. All right, else I'll say else what? Print you did not read any books, please improve yourself, something like that. Okay, I'm just passing some message. So now look at this, the use of elif. Elif means I can use n number of times if I have multiple conditions, more like a switch activity. If you have heard about a switch activity, is more like that. So let me run it and see how this is executing. So here you can see in the down bottom, it is saying me enter the number of books you read this month. Let's say I'm going to say 10. If I say 10, what is the output? Excellent job. What did it say? It said excellent job. Okay, what if let me run it, and this time I'm going to enter because it was greater than 5, right? The first greater than or equals to 5, this one excellent job. Let's say here I am going to enter 4. What I'm entering? I'm saying 4. Then it's saying good job. It's saying good job. Okay, what if I enter, for this condition I'll enter, let's say 2, right? If I enter 2, okay, you need to improve the count. Getting it? All the conditions are getting executed. Let's say it is last is what? Greater than 0. It should be greater than 0 and less than 3. This is executed. If I enter 0, what would happen? You did not read any books, please improve yourself. Getting it? So this is one of the practical use of else if, you can think of more such conditions, more such areas. For example, income tax, right? If your income is so and so, then you have to pay 5% of tax, and if it is greater than this, then you have to pay 10% of tax. So you can think of all those practical use cases where this will be very, very useful. So another new thing that you have learned today is of asking the user input in Python. In this video, we are going to learn while loop in Python. This is our next topic. So here in while loop, how do you break a loop? How do you continue a loop? How do you skip it, right? So all of these things I am going to teach you in this video. Let's get started and understand this while loop, okay? Let's say if I ask you, hey, you have to print from 1 to 10. What you have to do? You have to print from 1 to 10 in Python. Okay, I'm giving you a task, print 1 to 10 in Python. So how would you run it? So to do this, what I will do, I will use let's take a counter variable. Okay, I will say counter equals to 1. I'm going to initialize a variable with the value 1. Counter is equals to 1, and now let us use the while loop. Okay, I will use the while loop while counter is less than or equals to 10 till that time, and every loop or if condition, while loop, anything you are writing, you have to end it with a colon, hit on enter, right? Automatically it will have a white space, you can see. And now I would like to print it. What I would like to print the counter. The white space is very, very important in any kind of a condition that you are using. Okay, this is a block of a code. Okay, now what is wrong with this? If I say print counter, what is it's going to print? It's going to only print 111, and it is going to get into an infinite loop. If I run this, you will see it is going inside an infinite loop. That means the counter value is always remaining 1 and the condition is always met, so it is always printing and it's not going to stop it. Okay, that means this is not right. So what can we do? All we have to do, we have to write something known as counter is equals to counter plus 1. That means I'm increasing the value of the variable. Each iteration I'm increasing it by 1. So the first time it is 1, then it will become 2. So let's see that. Okay, it's interesting to see the values. So how can you see in PyCharm? All you do, click on the line number, you will have a breakpoint. This kind of symbol would come, red color symbol, and then hit on run and hit on debug your file. Okay, whatever the file name is, I'm going to hit on debug. And in this window, all you do, hit on console. Okay, there is something called console, hit on it. Okay, now what you do, hit on F8 key, hit on F8 key. So what would happen? It is go one by one and you can see what is happening. So what is the value of the counter now? The value of the counter is 1 now. So 1 is less than equals to 10. Yes. Okay, hit on F8. So it's going to print what? 1. So it has printed 1, you can see. Okay, now the value would become 2. So if I hit on F8, you can see the value has become, the counter value has become now 2. So 2 is less than 10. Yes. So it is going to follow the same sequence. It's going to print 2, it's going to print 3, it's going to print 4, it's going to print 5, it's going to print 6, it's going to print 7, it's going to print 8, like it is going on. Now look at this. Now counter value is equal to 10. 10 is less than equals to 10. Yes, the condition is met. Unless the condition is not met, right? Until the condition is meeting, if the condition value is true, then it's going to do the job below it. So whatever is written below it, it's going to do the job. So I'm going to hit on F8. Okay, so it has printed 10. Now if I hit on F8, look at it, the value has become 11. Now the condition will not meet. If the condition is not meet, 11 is less than equals to 10, the condition is wrong, right? It is not. If the condition become wrong, what would happen? The rest of the things that you have written below, it's not going to execute. If you say, if I hit on F8, what happened? Nothing got executed. It stopped here, right? It stopped here. Now what if I'm going to write on the 6th line, I'm going to write something. Let's say I am going to say print thank you. So when the condition is not met, it will just come out of the loop and go to the rest of the lines. Okay, so for example, if I run this, what is happening? Everything has been printed and then it is finally saying thank you. Okay, because I am running it, I am not debugging it, so it is showing the output directly. So it is coming to the 6th line and printing the value. Getting it? Okay. Now let's say I'm I don't want to write something like this. Okay, counter is equals to counter plus 1. Let's say a few people might would like to see how it is, how the print, the sixth line is running. Let's do that. Okay, hit on console and I'm going to hit on F8. Okay, I'm going to do it slightly fast. You can see the values are increasing and it's typing F8 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 F8. Okay, so I'm going to stop at 10. So it's 10. Now the counter value will become 11, right? So it has become 11. Now in 11, what would happen? This will become wrong. So the moment it becomes wrong, the entire block under this, so this is the entire block for while, so this will be completely stopped. The loop will stop and it will go to the next line. So it will come to the next line. Look at it. So if I hit on F8 now, where it has come to the sixth line and it's going to do the job, hit on F8. So you have understood how the loop is functioning. Okay, now let's go little advanced. What is the advanced thing? For example, if I ask you, hey, I'm not interested in writing something like counter is equal to counter plus 1. That doesn't look very cool. So in that case, what can I do? Is there a different way to write it? Yes, there is a different way. You can always say counter plus equals to 1. And this will do the same job. If I run it, you will see the output has been printed. The same output has been printed. Okay. So this is something you can make a note. Instead of saying counter is equals to counter plus 1, you can simply say counter plus equals to 1. This is cool, right? Okay. What if I don't want to print one below the other? So what is happening this time is printing one below the other. I don't like to print one below the other. Okay. So what I would like to do, I would like to print side by side. So what I will do for that, there is a function called end. Okay, end equals to, if I use double quote and give some space, okay, if you give a single space, okay, it will print a single space. If you execute this, what is happening? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and finally is printing thank you. So we don't need a thank you, leave it. And let's say I'm going to give little more space. If I run it, you can see the values have been printed with the more space that I've given here. So this is understood. This is also another learning that you can make a note of. Okay, all this is fine, Rakesh. Now the next thing is, what if I ask you, hey, you only print till 5. Don't print 6, 7, 8, 9. Only print till 5 if I ask you. Print until 5. Okay. So what would you do? You generally, what people can do is they can make it to 5 and this is going to give me the value, right? Okay, I don't want you to make it to 5. Rather, how can you stop the loop? Even though there are 10 times it's going to go through the loop. I want you to stop the loop at 5th point. So what I'm asking you to break the loop on a condition, right? With a condition. What is the condition? Print till 5. So what I will do, below this, I'm going to write a if condition. Okay, if counter equals to 5, if the counter value is equals to 5 colon, then I want you to break. So use the break function. What this will do, if I execute this, okay, the moment it is becoming 5, right, the moment it is becoming 5 equals to 5, it is going to break. It's going to break. So here it has from 4 it has improved to 5 and 5 equals to 5, it is breaking. So it is printing until 4. To how do I print till 6? All I have to do, change it to 6 and print until 5. So change it, improve it by one number. So you can see now the output has printed till 5. Now let's see, okay, how this is happening in the debug. Okay, how this is working in the debug way. So I'm going to hit on console and then hit on F8. So you can see the first value, look at the value is 1. Okay, 1. Then the counter is running. It's going to print 1 and the counter value will now become 2. So it will check, is 2 equals to 6? No. So it will skip it. Whatever written below, it is going to skip and go to the top. So I'm going to hit on F8. You can see it has come back to top. This understanding should be there. Now how this one is working, if you have a visual understanding, that is what we need. So now let's quickly run it. Okay, 4, it is printing, right, one by one. Now it has become 5. Now after this 5th line, the value of counter 5 will become 6, right? If I hit on F8, what is the value now? The value has become 6. 6 equals to 6. Condition is met. That means it's going to do the job what is written below it, right, within the if block. Okay, if I hit on 8, what would happen? It has met the condition. It has met the condition. The moment it meets the condition, and if I hit on F8, what happened? The loop is completely broken and the execution has stopped. Getting it? The execution has stopped. So what is the use of break? The break is used to stop the loop with a condition. Stop a loop, right? Stop a loop. You can put a condition to stop a loop. So this is understood what is the uses of a break in a while loop. Very good. Now, what if I ask you, let me remove the break, okay? Remove the break, execute. So now it is going to print 1 to 10. What if I ask you, hey Rakesh, what you do, print 1 to 10, but do not print 5. What I'm saying, print 1 to 10, but do not print 5. Okay, how this can be done? Okay, this can also be done. So what I will do, the printing is done here, right? So before the printing, what I'm going to say, I'm going to say if, okay, if counter equals to let's say 5. If the counter equals to 5, then there is a syntax. You have to use a colon mark, hit on enter. Then there is syntax. There is a function called continue. What this continue will do? Continue is like a skip. Continue is like skip. It will skip the loop. Okay. If counter is equals to 5, then skip it. First of all, let's see how this one is working. Okay, how the continue is working, we will see, and then we will try to improvise the logic. So now hit on run and debug and try to see how the values are coming. Okay, I'm hitting on the console. The understanding is very important. That's why I'm spending a lot of time. Hitting on console, and I'm going to hit on F8. Okay. So what is the value of the counter? Counter is 1. So if counter is equals to 1, it will continue. So what will happen if I hit on F8? Did it come to the line number 5? It did not come. It directly come to the print. So what it's going to print? The value is 1. It's going to print 1. So if I hit on F8, what it did do? Print 1. Okay. Likewise, if I go, now the counter value has become 2. It has improved the value here in the line number 7. So if I do hit F8, what happened? The count is still not equals to 5. So it is going in printing 2. Getting it? So like that it will continue 3, 4. Now look at it. Now the value is 5. What would happen when the value is 5? If I hit on F8, right? What is happening here? The value is 5. So it is going to continue. It is going to continue. Where it will continue? If I hit on F8, it will continue to the while loop. It will continue to the while loop. And if I hit on F8, what is the value now? The value is still remaining 5. Getting it? So it's still remaining 5. Now if I hit on F8, because it did not come to the counter plus 1, right? The value did not increase. So if I hit on F8, what is happening? The value, it will keep on going in the loop and it's not doing anything, because it's not able to reach here, because the value is still 5. So the counter is, you are increasing below in the 7th line. So it is not able to come to the 7th line and improve the value to 6. So that's why the loop will go in an infinite loop. And what I asked you to print 1 to skip the 5 and print till 10, you cannot achieve with this logic, right? See, it's not increasing. Many times I do, it's not increasing. Okay, so what is the answer? The answer is, what if I carry this counter is equal to 1 on top of this? So with that, when the loop is running, it is going to increase the value. So let's see. Let me going to stop it. Okay, let's stop it and try to debug it once again. Debug. Okay, hit on the console. Yeah, and let's debug it. Okay, so hit on F8. So now the counter value is equal to 1. So counter is equal to counter plus 2. So the counter value has become 2. Okay, so if condition did not meet, it's printing. So what it's printing? This is printing 2. This is printing 2. Okay, but it did not print 1 because I'm putting the counter value on top. So how do you solve this problem? So if I hit on F8, again it will become 3. Counter plus 1, after it executes, it will become 3. So 3 is not equals to 5. So it will come, the continue will not execute. It will come here. Okay, then I'm going to hit on F8. So it is going to print 3. Same thing, it will happen. It is going to print 4. Now look at it. Now the print, because the value, counter value is 4 now, so it is going to increase to 5. The moment it increases to 5, it will meet the condition. It is going to meet the condition 5 equals to 5. Then it will come to the loop. It will come to the 6th line. Till now it was not coming to the 6th line. It will come. So what will happen? It will skip it. So below, whatever written below this, so whatever lines you have written below this, right, below this while in this while block, whatever you have written below this is not going to execute. So it was coming to the 7th line, because it came to continue. This is going to come, it will come, it will jump to the while. That is the use of continue. It is again will jump back to the while loop. So if you see, if I hit on F8, where did it jump from? The 6th line, it has jumped to the 3rd line. That means anything written in this block of code, in this while loop, this is not going to execute anything written below it. Getting it? It will jump, it will take the loop to the initial condition. So that should be your understanding. Okay, you have understood. Now what is the value of counter? 5. So hit on F8. So now it will become 6, right? If I 6 is equal to 5, no, the condition will not meet. Now it is going to print. So what it will print? It will print 6. So it did not print 5. So our goal is achieved, but one thing it could not achieve. Let me hit on F8. So until 10 it will print, right? So once it will become 11, the loop is closed. Okay, so process finished. So it is printing 2, 3, 4. 5 is not printed. We have achieved our goal. Now the biggest question is how do I print 1? Can you think of, guys, how can I print 1? Okay, to print 1, what I will do, just think of it. Okay, take some time, think of it. So one thing we can do is I will use a if counter is equals to 1. Only when the counter is equals to 1, then you print. Okay, because with that logic, 1 is always skipped. So I will say print, and I'll say print counter. So it's going to print 1. Okay, print, and I would like to print in the same way, right? So I will use a comma and give it an end, tab, and whatever the spaces I have given, I will try to give that. Okay, now execute. So now what is happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is written. Okay, so this is quite interesting for you to learn. So you don't remember anything, don't try to remember anything, just try to debug and understand how things are working, and you can build your own logic. You don't have to remember how I have written, or you can build your own logics. You can try to do it in a different way. Okay, you can be completely creative. Only when you know the syntaxes, you can be completely creative and do in your own way. Hey guys, in this video, let's learn for loop in Python and the syntaxes involved in for loop in Python. Let's get started. We'll take a very simplest example. Let's learn with the simplest example. Let's say if I write for a in, and I'm going to say in double quote Python, and then after that you have to use a colon mark. Do not forget the colon mark, and say print, and I'm going to print a. So what exactly this is doing? So here a stands for a variable. Can I write any other variable like a, b, c, d, anything you like, you can enter, doesn't matter. So this is a variable in Python. So it is going to search one item in Python. So it's going to print p, it's going to print y, t, h, o, n, like that, and it's going to print. So let's get a practical example. So what I do, I hit on this button, and they will get a breakpoint. Hit on run so that we can see how this is working. Okay, and then we can hit on debug with my file name that I have. I'm hitting on debug. Okay, hit on console, and let's see how the output is getting printed. Okay, hit on the console, and now I'm going to hit on F8 key. So what is happening? The moment I hit on F8 key, the first line number 2 got executed, and at this time the value of a is p. So it is picking the first alphabet from the word p. And now the moment if I hit on F8, the second line, the third line will get executed, and it should print p here. Let me hit on F8. So what happened? This line got executed and it is printing p. Now it went to the second line once again because it is in a loop, right? It's in a for in loop. So it's going to the second line. So if I hit on, the second line will get execute once again. Now after execution, what is the value? Y. So it is picking one value at a time, and this time if I hit on F8, it's going to execute the print and is going to type y. So whatever the value was there in y got printed. Okay, likewise, let me do F8. If I do it, it is finally going to print the complete thing. Okay, you can see it has printed Python. So this is understood. Okay, let me give you one more example. Okay, what I will do, instead of this, what if I write a list, for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 different values. right? So what this will do, this is going to print 1 2 3 4 5. Let me run it. Okay, if I run it, what happened? The output has come 1 2 3 4 5, right? Let's say I would like to print it in a different way. All I taught you in the last video, end equals to, and I give a space, couple of spaces, whatever you like, run like this. So it is going to print in this format 1 2 3 4 5 in a single line. Okay, so this is understood how the loop is working. It is just picking one item from, it could be a string, it could be a list, it could be a dictionary, it could be a tuple, it could be a set, it could be anything, doesn't matter. For example, let me make it a set. So you know set, right? It cannot have a duplicate values inside this. So all this I've explained. So if I run it, again is going to print 1 2 3 4 5. If I make it to a tuple which can have duplicate values but always kept in order, so you can see it is printing. So this one we understood. I mean, how the for loop works, we understood. Now there are a couple of more things. What if instead of me printing A, what if I print something else? Let's say print, I would like to print my channel name, automate. Let me print my name, that's it. Okay, so how many times it will print? 1 2 3 4 5. It is printing 5 times. What if, are you going to read like, are you going to write a code like this to print something 5 times? No. Is there a smart way to do this, Rakesh? Yes, there is a smart way. Or what you do, remove this, and there is a function called, built-in function called range. So I will use range, and here I am going to provide, okay, I have to print it 5 times or 6 times. Let's say 5 times I want to print. So if I hit on run, what would happen? It's going to print. Okay, I forgot the colon mark. Okay, the colon, and then you can see it has printed 1 2 3 4 5 times. Okay, so this is the smart way. Now let me also show you what happens. Okay, this range actually starts from, do you know, it always starts from 0 till 4 it runs. I mean the index, it is an indexing. It will start from 0, then 1 2 3 4 5. So how do I know? All I do, if you type a and try to execute, it is going to type the value that is going to a. Sorry, because I put a double quote. Let me simply write a, and if I execute, what is happening? The value, when you say range, right? When you say range, the first value is assigned as 0, then assigned 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. This is clear. Okay, what if let's say I would like to print till 100. Okay, I want to print till 100. So you will say range 100, and I want to print in a probably a single line. I'll say end equals to, I'll give some space. Okay, now if I hit on run, what would happen? This is going to print 0 1 2 3 4 5, and it has printed till 100 in single line, if you see. Okay, so it's too much to see, but again, so it did not print 100 because as I said, 100 it'll only start from 0 till 99. So until 99 it has printed. If you want it to be printed till 100, then write 101 and execute, and it will print from 0 to 100. Okay, it always starts from 0. Okay, so this one we understood. And now what if I would like to print from a specific range? Let's say I would like to print from 10 to 20. So what I would say, 10 till 20 I would like to print. So instead of saying 20, I should say 21, right? One extra number I'll give. And if I run this, what is happening? It should be a comma. Okay, 10 comma 21 and execute. So what is happening? It has printed from 10 to 20. Okay, this is also very useful if you want to, you use it in a situation where you would like to do like this. This is very useful. What if I would like to 10 to 60, but it should jump 5. I mean 10, it should first print 10, then it should print 15, then it should print. So I'm giving a difference of 5 by putting one more comma. If I run this, if you see, the output would come 10, then 15, then 20, then 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So like that is coming, right? So this will also be very useful when you know how this syntaxes work. Okay, so a lot of things you have learned. Now let's say, can I use a else with for loop? Can I use a else command? Yes, you can do it. Let me hit on the backspace and type else. So once it is done, I want to say program ended, something like that. Okay, so if I execute, what would happen? After doing its job, it will come to the else block, right? And it should print program ended, right? Okay, So I should say print, no, print. Okay, now let's execute. So what is happening? It is saying program ended. Getting it? So this is how things can work. This is how you can design your own thing, right? So I want it to appear in the next line. So how should I do it? Do you know? If I say /n and try to run it, you can see it has appeared in the below line. So you should not give a space. So let me remove a space. So it has come in the bottom line. So all these things you can design. Okay, so once you go through all my videos, you will learn the small tricks and techniques which would really help you to build Python programs. Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn what is a nested for loop, right? The meaning is very clear. For loop inside a for loop with a very nice example which is going to help you to build your logic. Okay, that is very important. And if you would like to become a programmer, how well you can build a logic is very important as a skill set for a developer. So let's get started. Okay, so nested for loop. Now we should have some practical example to understand. It's not just about syntax that we should learn. We should also learn some practical examples. Okay, so let me give you one example. Let's say I'm going to create a list and I'm going to enter few numbers. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are the 4 different numbers I have entered in a list. Now I'll give you one more list. This list will have some random numbers. Okay, doesn't matter how, but it'll have some random numbers, something like that. You know, I'm typing some random numbers like that. Okay, so now your job is to find out how many times 1 is present in the second list. So if you count how many times I have 1, 2, here it is 3, here it is 4. So 1 is present 4 times. How many times 2 is present? Only 1 time. How many times 3 is present in the second list? 2 times. How many times 4 I have? 0 times. Now tell me, how will you create a logic in Python to build this, right? So this is where, so pause the video, think for some time and see what is the logic can be built. So you actually need a nested loop. So let's see that how this can be done. Okay, now first of all what I will do, I will use a for loop. Okay, so for the first one I will say for a in this list. Okay, for a in this one, and for the second one I'll put a colon, hit on enter. Okay, and for the second one I'll say for b in this one. So what is happening? I'm trying to run a first loop. That means the first value to a will come as 1, right? The first value will pick and a will have 1, and inside that I'm running another for loop and I'm saying it should pick the value to the b. So here from this array, from this list, the first value which will come is 0, the second value which will come is 1, like that it will be coming. Okay, put a colon mark, hit on enter. Now what I want to do in this specific one, right, in this specific one I would like to compare. Okay, now just imagine, okay, your imagination power is very important now. So now tell me, what is the first value? Just imagine we are running it for the very first time. So what is the first value in a? Will be 1. So a is 1. Now I have a loop inside this, so this entire loop has to complete, then only it will go to the first loop. Only when this inside the inner loop is complete, it will go to the outer loop. So inner loop has to complete. So the first value from the inner loop which will come is 0. So what we will do, you will use a if condition. So I'll say if a equals to b. That means it will say the a value is 1. So it will say first time when it runs, a is not equals to b. But when the second time it runs, it will say okay, 1 is equals to 1. So when this meets the condition, I would like to use a counter variable, right? Counter is equal to counter plus 1, or you can write counter plus equals to 1. This is also another way to write. So counter is equal to counter plus 1 also you can write, or this way also you can write. Okay, now this counter variable, what I will do on the top, I am going to give it a value. I will say counter is equal to 0. The default value will be 0. Okay, so what is happening here, just imagine one has been picked and it's going to compare with all of this with the inner loop. The first time when it comes, it will be 0, so it will not come to this loop, to the if condition. Second time it will pick 1, so 1 is equal to b, a equal to b, 1 equals to 1. Then it will improve the counter to 1. That means I found 1 first time. Then the third time when it runs, then the value will become 1 to 2, so it has found 2 times. Like that, it will keep on comparing with each one. The moment a equals to b, that time it will become 1. Okay, so let's see this. So what I will do, the counter value is increasing. It's a global variable. I've kept it on the top, so it is going to increase. So once it increases, I'll hit on a backspace. Okay, so where I should type this, I should type this inside the primary for, right? So it should type, hey, a is found so many times. So this is the inner loop. So I'll skip the inner loop. I should print it in the outer loop. So I'll hit on backspace. I'll hit on. So here I'm going to write, I will say print. Okay, I'll say print. What I want to print, I will say a is the variable, comma, is present in so many times, right? He is present, I will say. Then I will say comma, and then which is keeping how many times? The counter variable is keeping that data. So I will say counter. I'll use the counter name. So that means a is present 3 times. So I'll put a comma, and in double quote I'm saying times. Getting it? So this is how. So let's see the output. So there is something still wrong. Okay, I will show you what is wrong. So first of all, let's debug it. Always good to debug as a beginner. One should always debug and try to see. So I'm going to hit on debug. Okay, now I'll hit on console in PyCharm, and then I'm going to, okay, before you hit on debug, let me stop it. So before you hit on debug, what you do, select a click on this line, the first line, and now I'm going to hit on debug. Okay, now let's see, I'm going to hit on console and then hit on F8. Okay, so what is happening? Look at this. Let's understand. Okay, our understanding is more important than anything else. So what I'm doing here, the counter value is 0. Okay, now if I hit on F8, the third line got executed and the a value is equal to 1. Okay, a value is 1. Now if I hit on F8, then the fourth line got executed, the b value is 0, the first value of the array is 0. Okay, whatever the value is there, it is picking that, so it's 0. So what this will do, it is coming and saying a is equal to 1, b is equal to 0. Is a equals to 1, will the condition will meet? No, the condition will not meet. Okay, if the condition doesn't meet, what would happen? This block will run, this block will continue to run, right? This inner block should continue to run. So if I hit on F8 again, okay, b is equal to 0, this did not match. So you can see right now b is equal to 1. Because the b is equal to 1, the b value is picked second time is 1. Now the counter is increasing. Okay, if you see, if I hit on F8, the counter value has increased to 1. That means it found 1 time. If I hit on F8, it found second time, so the counter value has gone to 2, right? So like that the logic will run. Okay, so I'll fast forward. Okay, so now what is the output? It's saying 1 is present 4 times. Getting it? So it is saying 1 is present for 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is able to calculate the logic. So let me stop it. So what is wrong with this logic? Tell me. If I run it again, what is wrong with this logic? It's saying 1 is present 4 times, 2 is present 5 times, 3 is present 7 times. So there is something wrong. So what is happening when it comes to the primary loop, the outer loop? It is still the counter value is not, we are not resetting the counter value. The counter value the first time has become 4 and still remaining. So the counter value we need to reset here. So what I will do, hit on enter and simply say counter is equals to 0. So I am trying to reset the value of the counter. Now if I run, you will see there's a proper output. 1 is present 4 times, 2 is present 1 time. Is it correct? 2 is present 1. Yeah, 1 time it is present. Now 3 is present 2 times, 3 is present 1, 2 times. Yeah, that's correct. 4 is present 0 times, so 4 is not at all there, right? So this is how the output has come. So hope you are able to build this logic, guys. So building logic is very important. Okay, that's where you have to spend a lot of time. If you have to spend 1 hour for just to build a logic, please do it, because our brain has to develop itself to build logics. That is what a programmer would have a skill. Syntax and all is fine, they are required definitely, but again, keep on practicing. The syntaxes will be there in your fingertips. You don't have to recall anything. You will be able to automatically type it. Just that the logic you have to build. The logic is something nobody will help you, right? You have to keep on start with small exercises, and by going through these exercises you will be developing your logical power. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have already subscribed to my channel. Please do subscribe and support me. Please hit on the bell icon to stay up to date with the latest content I am going to upload. So thank you guys for all this support till now. We are going to meet once again in our next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.